Alrighty. I will go ahead and get started. My name is Victoria Schmalz. I am the Summer EBT Specialist. I work with student data and eligibility here at the Office of Nutrition Services for MDE. Thank you all for joining me. Let me just 1 second. Sorry, I want to make sure that this is recording because we will be able to hopefully get this posted at some point or sent out to those that weren't able to join. So it looks like we're all set there. Okay, so we're here to talk about summer EBT or Sunbucks and what's new for 2025. So let's hop right into the agenda here. So today we'll be going over the overview of summer EBT in case there is anyone on that's not familiar. We'll go over the eligibility and reporting requirements, what's new for summer EBT for 2025, timeline and issuance, some things about those, and then also go over some resources and then some if there's any questions at the end. Okay, so the overview of summer EBT or Sunbucks. Summer EBT is a program that provides additional nutritional support to low-income families during the summer months when school meals are unavailable. This program is important because it ensures children continue to receive healthy meals during school breaks, specifically during the summer, and it reduces food insecurity, promoting better health and well-being for children. Some of the key program highlights of the program: funds are provided via EBT cards for food purchases in the amount of $120 per eligible student, and it's targeted to families who qualify for free or reduced price school meals. Okay, so the eligibility for summer EBT or Sunbucks has not changed. So if you've been to any of my presentations before or are familiar with the program, this should all look the same. Students of any age that are attending a school that participates in the National School Lunch or School Breakfast program are eligible for summer EBT if they can be directly certified, if they are categorically eligible, which means that they are receiving services for homelessness, foster care, migrant students, things like that, or if they have an approved summer EBT application. For students that are school age, so that's 6 to 18, that are not attending a school that participates in the National School Lunch or School Breakfast program, they must participate in a means-tested program. So that's food assistance, TANF or cash assistance, Medicaid up to a certain amount. So that's really the homeschool population or certain non-public schools, students that would fall into that category. Okay, so in general, children that are income eligible are able to be directly certified or categorically eligible for free or reduced price school meals are eligible for summer EBT. So again, this is the same as it has been. This chart just goes a little bit deeper into the two paths for summer EBT eligibility. The first path, which I will talk about just in a second, is the streamlined certification. And then the second path is those certified summer EBT applications. So digging into the streamlined certification a little bit more. So those are the students that are able to be directly certified because of their participation in public assistance programs. So SNAP, TANF or cash assistance, Medicaid up to a certain percentage. Also in the second box, school-age children who are categorically eligible. So that's based on their participation in Head Start or because of their homeless, foster, migrant, or runaway status. Also in the third box there, students that are certified for free and reduced price meals through their school meals application at traditional claim schools. That is a certain caveat. That is one of the changes that we'll get to in a couple slides here. Alrighty, and how do we find those students that fall into that third category? Those students are pulled from the SNE component, the Supplemental Nutrition Eligibility, which is reported in the Michigan Student Data System or MSDS collections. So again, this is going to be just for students that are attending traditional claiming or non-CEP schools. Those students will continue to have their summer EBT eligibility pulled from this S&E component that's reported in MSDS. So again, this is code 1, 2, or 5. 5 being the somewhat new code that allows for extended eligibility of that direct certification for a family or a student in a household with another student that's already on the list. And then just a little bit more into direct certification. All students that are directly certified, regardless of whether they attend a traditional claim or CEP school, will automatically qualify for summer EBT benefits. So it's really important, especially for those in CEP schools, that you are running that direct certification report often to help match those students and get that information in. Excuse me. Again, the supplemental nutrition eligibility or S&E code 5 was added a few years back for students that are eligible through extended direct certification. Only report those students with the code 5 if they share a household with a student who appears on that direct certification report and receives SNAP, cash assistance, or Medicaid-free benefits. And then also on the screen is just some best practices for how often the direct certification report should be run. CEPI updates the list, I believe, every 2 weeks. So really it's best practice to run it at least that often. On the screen are just the requirements. Okay, so looking into what's new for 2025. The first thing you may have noticed on the slides, there's the new branding. In order to better align with the FNS or USDA branding, Michigan is going with a combined branding approach. So that's what you see on the screen there. So we will be referring to the program as both Sunbucks, which is the name that's used at the federal level, and Summer EBT, which we are all pretty familiar with already. The hope is that this dual branding will remove any confusion from the field or from our families with thinking that these are two separate programs. So we've heard kind of anecdotal stories about families saying, oh, well, I received my summer EBT, but when am I going to get my Sunbucks kind of thing. So to help alleviate any of that confusion, we're combining the two logos together. So this will be out there on any communications that we send out on emails. So get used to seeing this bright, beautiful logo here. Another thing that's new for 2025, so I talked a little bit about the 2 different paths to eligibility. The first path was that streamlined certification, so students that are automatically eligible without having to do any other sort of application for summer EBT or Sunbucks. The second change for 2025 is the use of the education benefits form. So that's specific for CEP schools. So last year in 2024, Michigan utilized a waiver from FNS that allowed us to use the alternate income applications or the education benefits forms here in Michigan to identify CEP students as eligible for summer EBT. That waiver is no longer available. So what that means is that students attending CEP schools who are not directly certified or categorically eligible will need to complete the summer EBT application to receive those benefits this year in 2025 and beyond. The education benefits form, to be clear, will still need to be collected by CEP schools. So nothing in that process has changed. The only thing that has changed is that MDE and MDHHS will no longer be using that information reported from CEP schools specifically just for summer EBT for that group of students. Related to this is the third change, which is the new summer EBT or Sunbucks application that will be hosted by the Department of Health and Human Services on their MyBridges platform. So last year we had a paper application. Families that were interested had to fill it out and either like email or mail or fax it in, which was very cumbersome. But starting this year, families that believe that they may be eligible for Sunbucks or summer EBT will be able to complete the application online. Again, that's through the MyBridges website. And if you're unfamiliar, MyBridges is the platform that Michigan residents have used for years to apply for and manage other state benefits. Having the summer EBT application as a part of this system will help us streamline the application process for all sides. The application is already available. The DHS team worked really hard, got it up early. They've already received a few hundred applications with no communication yet from our side. So people are already seeing that the application is available on the website and are going through that process for filling it out. So on the screen here is just a shot of what the MyBridges homepage looks like. So at the top of the page, there are the 6, I guess, historical programs that folks are able to apply for through the MyBridges website and application. And then on the bottom there, and I kind of made it bigger, is what the summer EBT and Sunbucks application process looks like at the start. So it's right there on the home screen. There's a whole process flow of questions designed to have people fill out the application that are eligible or potentially eligible that need to. So if, I'm a single person that's not in school or that doesn't have school-age children, there's screening questions at the very beginning that I will answer that would say essentially, oh, this program isn't for you, but go back to the homepage and maybe find something else that you could apply for if you need assistance. So it's really, the flow is really targeted towards those that may be eligible. All right, so those are the new things for 2025. Onto the timeline for summer EBT for this year and then some important dates. So the S&E component data, again, will be pulled from the general collection in MSDS, the early childhood collection, and the non-public school student roster collection. That is all the same as it was last year. One difference that we did make is that our initial pull is coming from the fall collection data, which was reported back in the fall. And this will allow for us to issue benefits a little bit earlier than we did last year. So right now we're on target for the benefits to start the issuance process at the end of May, which means that families should start to receive them in June. And then the catch-up data pull for anyone that wasn't reported in the fall will happen from the spring collections, which some of them are happening now and then they start in a little while. I think the early childhood collection is open right now and the spring general collection opens soon. We'll put more information out about when that information needs to be in for the spring collections as we get closer to that date. And it's also important to note that if you are receiving questions from families that are concerned about not have gotten in or not being able to get in the fall that's already passed, that they will have access to that online application as well. Alrighty, so again, for the issuance, we are expecting benefits to begin being issued in May of 2025 with a June delivery. Eligible households will again receive a letter that explains that they're eligible for summer EBT or Sunbucks, how to activate and use their card, when their benefits will expire, how to opt out if they do not want to receive or utilize the benefits, and then a general list of what they can and cannot be used for. Again, summer EBT cards will be issued in the name of each eligible student, and new this year, they will be valid for future years' issuances. So the cards that folks receive this year, they should hold on to, essentially, because if they are, again, eligible in future years, that same card will be able to be used again. That will kind of help cut down on the cost and hopefully will, encourage people to hold on to the cards and use them. Also, families that are currently active on food or cash assistance that already have an active bridge card will have their summer EBT or Sunbucks funds loaded onto that existing card. Okay, and then some resources here. So for families that have questions, if that's questions about a card where it was sent, questions about benefits, or if they're eligible, the best place to direct them is to the MDHHS Summer EBT call center. They have staff that is available either on phone or by email to answer questions, to look up information. So that first bullet point is where to send your families with questions. The second bullet point is the MDE Summer EBT mailbox. It's me. So it's just me. So if that's specifically for you folks that have questions. So if there's a question that a family is sending to you that they aren't able to answer, or you're not really sure where to send them, or you have a general question about the program, feel free to send me an email to that email box. There are some families that have found that email and found their way to me, which is completely fine. I'm happy to answer their questions as well. But as just one person, I'm more able to quickly answer questions just from the school professionals versus the call center at DHS that has more capacity for questions from families. There's also a Summer EBT webpage through DHHS, and it is currently being updated to kind of flow a little bit better and I guess look more appealing, like some other states. I know they've borrowed from that. But this is also another great place to send families, or if you have questions or need information that you're not able to get anywhere else, start at that website, and then again, feel free to email or call me as well. Okay. So that's quick and easy for the summer EBT information for 25. I did have a poll. I don't know if I can pull it up here. Okay, well, I'm figuring that out. I wasn't able to look at the chat, so let me look at that and then see if I can pull up this poll here, if there's any questions. Okay, I don't know if it worked. Okay, let me see. All right, so I'm just looking at the questions from the chat here. Are students from schools that only run CACFP still not eligible for summer EBT? Yes, that is correct. A school has to participate in either the National School Lunch Program or school breakfast in order to be an eligible school. Let's see. Can you please clarify how Head Start students may qualify? That's the next question. So that's kind of related to the previous question about CACFP. A Head Start student will qualify for summer EBT or Sunbucks if their program is in and reported by a school that participates in either the National School Lunch or School Breakfast program. So it sounds pretty cut and dry. I know there can be certain situations where a program is in a building that participates, but the program itself doesn't necessarily. If there's questions like that or little nuances, feel free to send me an email and I can kind of dig into that to let you know if that school or program would qualify. But that NSLP, SBP part of it is really what we're the main thing that determines the eligibility there. Another question here, is the EBT form only available on the MyBridges website? Is there a paper option? We have a large district, so looking for a few different options. DHS is putting a paper version of the application on their website. I don't know if it's up there yet. I know with the website being revamped, that's part of the push. So if it's not on that DHS website yet, it will be shortly once the website is revamped. Libby, if you want to send me an email, I can always just reach out to you once I hear that the website is up and running. I will say that the online application will be easiest probably for most people, but there will also be a paper option. Okay, next question. If a parent can qualify by filling out an application for summer benefits on the MyBridges site, is that information shared with the districts to add to free and reduced numbers? Not yet. There are talks about that being a potential for the future, but as of right now, the summer EBT or Sunbucks application that's on MyBridges will only be used for eligibility for that program currently. Next question is about the $120 per child per summer month issuance amount. That is for the entire time period of the summer. So it's $40 per summer month per child. So June, July, August is $120 per child. There was a question previously in one of our summer EBT Sunbucks meetings about the amount being changed. And every year USDA or FNS does the calculations for how much the benefit amount will be based on all sorts of data and numbers that they have. So long story short, for 2025, the $120 will continue to be the amount. Essentially, after the calculations that they did, there is a certain threshold that has to be met to change the amount, and it was under that threshold. So the calculations were done again for 25, but the amount is still staying the same at that 120 for this year. Next question I have here, will families receive a letter from MDE stating that they are eligible, or are the schools responsible for sending the message out? No, schools do not need to send any messaging out about eligibility for summer EBT. That is handled strictly by DHS, who are the ones that are processing the applications and issuing the benefits. So there's nothing related to eligibility that the schools will be responsible for. Okay, next question. To confirm, students who are directly certified will receive these funds without needing to do anything else. Yes, that is correct. And students who are identified as having free or reduced lunch can apply for benefits through MyBridges. So those that are in traditional claiming schools that are reported with that S&E component of 1, 2, or 5 are included in that streamlined certification category, those that don't have to do anything further to receive the assistance. The only other students that will need to complete the application are those that aren't directly certified, aren't categorically eligible, or that attend a CEP school. So they don't fill out the normal or the free and reduced price lunch application. And that's a big change, honestly, because last year we were able to use the education benefits form. So those families were able to, also fall into that streamlined certification bucket of folks that didn't have to fill out the extra application. So there are a large number of families that will likely need to fill out that application on the MyBridges website. And if there are any families that aren't sure, if they don't know if they completed the right form or application at their school, or if there's, a little confusion with every public school student receiving free breakfast and lunch, which is amazing. But that might make it a little bit more difficult for parents to understand, what they did to get that essentially. So if there are parents that have questions like that, best practice would be to have them fill out the application online, because they will either get it kicked back and say, oh, we didn't need this, you're already eligible, or they'll, the application will be processed and then they'll get the benefits if they are eligible. So really best practice in those cases is to push the families towards the application. Let's see, where will the presentation be posted? I am not 100% sure. It will be on the MDE website, or probably also the MDHHS website as well. I believe we have a page for our conferences and not conferences and training, I'm sorry, for our trainings. So it should be posted there. I should be able to get like a list of attendees or something afterwards, and then I'll make sure it gets sent out there as well. Okay, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, next question. Are students that are currently eligible for free and reduced good to receive benefits for the upcoming year based on the current S&E field submission? Yes, as long as they are in traditional claiming schools. I think, if I'm understanding that question correctly, Alan. Okay, another question here. To clarify, we are a CEP district. We still have our families complete the education benefits form. That can make them free or reduced. Even though we're a CEP district, will MDE pick up those 1, 2, and 5 submitted through fall and spring general collection? No, not for the purposes of summer EBT. For summer EBT in a CEP school or district, the only students that are going to be automatically eligible for summer EBT are those that are directly certified or categorically eligible. If a student does not fall into those two categories, in order to be eligible for summer EBT, their family will need to fill out that application online or the paper version and submit to DHS. All right. Will the branding be available to us to use for our website info for families? I believe so. I'll have to check, but I don't see why not. I know that we do have some communications that are going to be coming out shortly once they go through the approval process. So I'll double check on that and make sure. But if they are available, we'll make sure that they're listed on the DHS website for use. We also are working with a couple different nonprofits that are going to be putting together like toolkits and text message blasts and things like that. So that all should be able to be included, or the branding should be able to be included with that as well. Okay. I think that was all of the questions in the question fields. If there are any other questions that folks have, feel free to put them in the chat or the question and answer. Okay. I'm not seeing anything else show up. Again, let me see if I can put my contact information back up. Oops. So I'll leave the this resources page up for a little while there. If there is again any questions that come up, any specific situations that you think of that you might want to talk through, feel free to send me an email to that MDE-SEBT@michigan.gov email address. And then again, your families, please push them towards the DHS call center because they have, again, more of the resources and availability to assist more people than just me. So, but that's all that I have. I don't think that there's anything else pending. So thank you all for joining. I hope you have a great day and stay safe if it snows. Thank you.